I mean, it's idiotic. I was trying to look for a diplomatic word, but there isn't one. If Giannis played tonight and 1 minute into the game got ejected with 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, and Middleton went on to score 40 and the Bucks win, Giannis should and would still be the unanimous Finals MVP based on what he's done through 5 games. He leads everybody on both teams in points. He's 1 rebound shy, 1 rebound, not per game, 1 total rebound, shy of leading everyone on both teams in rebounds. He's 3rd in the series in blocks, in assists behind the 2 point guards. He's 1st or 2nd in blocks and steals. He's 1st in field goal percentage. He has the best defensive play. He's the best offensive play. Obviously, Giannis is the MVP of this series. Obviously. But the fact that this question exists out in the ether, in the NBA Twitter sphere and media, is to me indicative, Wilds, of a bigger problem. And the problem is the disrespect for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is without question the most disrespected superstar in the league today and maybe across sports. Now, people are like, what about LeBron? The LeBron disrespect is like farcical. It's like, you know what? I thought Porky Pig was bad in Space Jam, therefore Jordan's better. That stuff's nonsense. I'm talking about, like, on the court, how he's looked at by his peers and by some in the media. It's lunacy. And I go back, Wilds, to that James Harden quote from a few years ago, and I'll read it to you in full. I wish I could be 7 feet, run, and just dunk. That takes no skill at all. I got to actually learn how to play basketball and how to have skill. I'll take that any day. Folks talk about Giannis like he's Paul Bunyan and the rest of the NBA are the characters from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the workers. Giannis, there are 59 players in the league as tall or taller than Giannis. There are 57 players in the league that weigh as much or weigh more than Giannis. DeAndre Ayton is 6'11", 250. Giannis is 6'11", 246. So why can't Ayton do what Giannis does? Why can't he? Why can't every big guy in the league do what Giannis does? Because Giannis is special. And it has been jarring to me, Wilds, that throughout this postseason, we have seen when Dame is going off in round 1, forget NBA Twitter, NBA players watching the game chime in on it. When Clay goes off, when Steph goes off, when LeBron goes off, when you have these explosions, especially if it's a standalone national TV game or a playoff game or much less a finals game, you see guys across the league comment on it. It's been crickets on social media by his colleagues for Giannis. So I think he's disrespected by his colleagues. I think he's disrespected by the media. And I think some of the narrative surrounding him is insane to me. Totally insane.
So I'll throw it to Brandon, but we can circle back around to you, Nick. Brandon, do you think that some of the Giannis, we'll say the lack of flowers, since everyone's getting that some of the criticism around Giannis is because there are a handful of incompletes on his superstar report card? It's like 3-point shooting, incomplete. Free throw shooting, incomplete. End of game sort of clutchness, kind of like you're the man, incomplete. Right. And I know the positive side of that, the optimistic way to look at it is like, well, you know, he's not afraid. He has suppressed his ego, and he's got a great mindset, and he's willing to let Middleton hit the shot. Like, okay, but narrative-wise, kind of like, you know, in the gauntlet, you like to see the superstar grab the sword and kind of slay the beast. So I feel like between the threes, the lack of end game, and the free throws, which are not just bad, but are embarrassing, not to him, but it's just odd to airball free throws. Do you think that those three incompletes are why people sort of take shots at him or are unwilling to sort of give him the crown?
Right. No, Wilds, I think a lot of guys have holes in their games. There's no one in the league that's perfect. There's always something you can get better at. I truly believe, and I said this before when we had this discussion a couple weeks ago, Nick, where the game has changed, right? Like, this is old school basketball in a way where you play defense and you're getting it done in the paint. You know, nowadays, like, guys are being, you talk about, okay, why aren't they tweeting at this guy? Why aren't they, when he goes off and he has a big night, why aren't they talking about that and highlighting that on the broadcast? Well, it's because what we're used to is Dame shooting from half court, Steph Curry going slap off and hitting 10 threes, LeBron James getting it done in so many different ways. It's about how he's getting it done. That's where the lack of respect comes in at. But this whole conversation around, is he the most disrespected person in the NBA? No. I mean, everyone knows that he has a huge hole. He has two huge holes in his game. He can't shoot, and he's, you know, terrible from the free throw line. And that's okay. He is a monster. He is a beast, two-time MVP. But at the end of the day, there's nobody more disrespected in the NBA than LeBron James. There's nothing he can do to make people happy. Like, yeah, he has his fan base. He has people that cheers him on. But at the end of the day, it seems like he always has to prove himself. I mean, it took him, half his career to finally realize, like, you know, I'm never going to make people happy. I just need to be myself and be unapologetic about it. LeBron James, to me, is the most disrespected person, not only in the NBA, but in all of sports. It's insane what this dude has done and still not getting the proper flowers.
Okay, so to a degree, I understand that and I agree with that. I just feel like the LeBron stuff has almost ascended sports. People are like, hey, did you know LeBron's sneakers are made in China? It's like, yeah, so are literally all of ours. Like, what are you talking about? They're like, hey, I thought I thought you saw it this weekend when people are like, guys, Space Jam, not a cinematic masterpiece. It's like, dude, it's a cartoon kids movie. Calm down. And so I'm talking about more on the court stuff with Giannis. And I think the fact that he hasn't gotten this monkey off his back, go ahead, Wilds. Go ahead, before I go about this postseason. I think, go ahead, Wilds.
Okay, so you talked about it yesterday, which I think is interesting. The idea that legacies are paper thin, right? Like, if the ball bounces a little bit differently for Kawhi, or if Embiid gets a fingertip on it, then that's viewed, Kawhi's career is like, he was disgruntled and he couldn't get it done in Toronto. But instead, it's like, wow, he's got 2 finals MVPs. What we saw to sort of like, and you did it with Devin Booker. If Devin Booker hits that, all of a sudden this is Devin Booker's ascension, and Giannis is viewed as like, wow, you missed those free throws. If you nailed those, you could have put the game away. So it feels like the margins of this are so tight that if it was to go another way, if we get tonight and he misses some free throws, people are like, I told you. Like, the guy needs to work on his game. These holes are too big.
But so let's talk about the margins, because you control what you can control. The Bucks are down 2-0 to Brooklyn. Kyrie is healthy at this point in time. And Giannis, in games 3 and 4, stares Durant in the eyes and outplays him in those games. Game 5, Durant has the game of his life. Game 6, Giannis is better. And Game 7, I would say Giannis and Durant play to a push. But who hits the shot in overtime on the other guy? The critical basket. Giannis on Durant with a minute left. So that's that series. The next series, Giannis suffers what appears to be a brutal injury. Comes back within a week. Has back-to-back 40-point finals games. In one of those games, the second 40-point finals game? Game 4. Then in the next game, how thin are the margins? Well, it's a 2-point game with a minute left. Why didn't the Suns tie it? Because Giannis blocked the shot. The next game, after Booker turns the ball over, why was it not a 1-point game after that? Because Giannis completed the alley-oop. And this idea, Brandon, that he should be graded on a curve because of his physical gifts. What's so puzzling to me about that is, do people not know that? Guess who usually wins in the NBA? The biggest, most athletic people. Like, the 60s were dominated by the 2 most athletic guys,
Small ball doesn't work.
Kareem,
Small ball is done.
No, it's not that it doesn't work, but so many of the great, go through history. Kareem was 7'2" and had an unblockable shot. Did people say that was unskilled?
But Nick, that's why I'm saying, man, It's like watching football. It's like let's watch Sunday Night Football or watch all the games on Sunday. The team that ground and pound, plays great defense and runs the ball 50 times a game, they're not the ones we want to watch. We want to watch Patrick Mahomes throw it all over the place. We want to watch Patrick Mahomes throw it in so many different angles and throw no-look passes. That's what we want to see. We want to see the wide receivers go up and catch the one-handers. That's what we want to see. And in basketball, it's the same thing. That's not the game anymore. Just, let me post up or let me get in the paint, mid-range game. That's why it's like counterculture to see these guys like Chris Paul. Chris Paul dominate the mid-range game. That's counterculture right now. Even Devin Booker and Giannis, the same thing. He gets it done in the paint. Now, is he a freak? 100%. I feel like people respect that. But the reason why we're not celebrating him is because he's not going through his legs and dribbling the air out of the basketball and shooting threes from half court. That's what guys want to see.
I know.
Yeah, but here's the other thing, though, Nick. The last thing is this. It's like, do we really believe that Giannis would be in this position if the Nets were 100% healthy? Like, let's think about that.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't care.
not calling it.
I don't care. Guess what? Staying healthy matters. Guess what? Staying healthy matters.
It does.
And Giannis suffered a major injury
100%.
and came back in 7 days. James Harden had a hamstring strain.
Right.
It basically knocked him out for 3 months. That stuff matters. And listen, it's a matter of taste. What do you prefer? Do you prefer long-range shooting or do you prefer above-the-rim acrobatics? Personally, I like the guys who look like they can fly soaring above people, but that's a matter of taste. But what is, to me, not deniable about what you're saying. Like, let me use a football example, because you're like, it's where with Mahomes, with the games going. Derrick Henry's a throwback player. Derrick Henry is doing things that guys haven't done in a decade. If the Titans won the Super Bowl through Derrick Henry, and the commentary is, man, not a great pass catcher. Guy, really, you put him out in the slot. He's got no moves.
But
who
here's
gives
the thing.
a damn?
But here's the thing with Derrick. I thought about that when I broke that down. But here's the thing with Derrick Henry is on those 80-yard touchdown runs, he's stiff-arming 3 or 4 people to the ground. So he's electrifying. He still brings that zip to the game.
Wasn't electrifying. Giannis's alley-oop and dunk weren't electrifying.
It was okay. It was
Those
okay.
are pretty electrifying.
We've seen it, but we've seen that 1,000 times. We've seen that 1,000 times.
Not in the finals in that
over the history of the
situation.
NBA.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.